taking a drive in the rain. First time driving the thing like in a heavy rain. You know, I've driven it in sprinkling weather, but going through the park right now, the public park here in Hutchinson, and the thing runs good. I mean, I don't know, I think I just hit a rock. I don't know what that noise was. Slow it down here a little bit. I don't know if I've ever made a video of it, of us just cruising around. I want to make a quick video. But this truck, like, if any of you guys are interested, I will, would definitely be willing to sell for sure. You know, if anybody is interested, we could talk, negotiate it out. But just taking a little cruise here in the rain. As you can see, I do have my headlights on so other cars can see me, but so just driving around. The wipers work. There is a faster setting for the wipers, so that they don't have intermittent wipers. They didn't have that back in '77. However, you've got fast and you've got slow, and then you've got off. That's your wipers. That's what you have. So, but it seems to be driving fine. Driving. It's raining pretty good. You know, it's the first real spring day of the year, seems like, where we get here in Kansas. We have a tornado season, and so we're kind of at the beginning of that. We're at the beginning of the rainy spring tornado season, and it's pretty good rain. I'm glad that we are getting some rain, getting some moisture. Oh wow, we're kind of going through some deep water here. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm gonna go a little faster on the wipers, starting to come down a little bit faster. Well, it seems to be handling good. I did drive this truck in the snow this winter, and it actually handled very well in the snow for being a rear-wheel drive dually. Did very good in the snow. So if you guys are curious about that, it is lowered 2 inches. It does have 2-inch drop spindles in the front. It's been lowered 2 inches in the rear, so it is slightly lowered. It's not slammed down to the ground, but it is lowered. It does look really nice lowered. I love lowered trucks. I do. I mean, lifted trucks are cool too, you know, but I've always liked the lowered trucks. They look better, and honestly, with a lowered truck, you can get things in the bed easier. That is one thing that is nice. Looks like the rain's letting up a little bit. That's off with the wipers, and then there's on, just on the slow setting. We're just cruising around right now. Not really, no set destination, as they say. We're just kind of driving around. Coming up to a stoplight. I think I'm gonna make a left here. It's a very smooth truck. I'm barely touching the gas pedal. Has lots of horsepower. If I put it to the floor, it will break the tires free. It will do a burnout. Even with duals back there, it will do a burnout. She's pretty peppy for a 454. Got a lot of torque. Transmission has been built a little bit better than stock. That is another thing. It is a turbo 400 that has been built, and it does only have, I know it's less than 10,000 miles, and the engine is a little bit more than 30,000 miles. It's between 30 and 35,000 miles roughly on the engine, but overall the engine is low mileage, transmission is brand new, engine is basically brand new. It doesn't really consume oil. It does seem like I've been changing oil every 3,000 I use Penn grade oil, which is what this motor I think has lived on its whole life, is Penn grade. Not Penn's oil, Penn grade. Penn's oil is garbage. Penn grade oil. So it's like a hot rod oil. This is a flat tappet cam. It is a comp cams 262. Edelbrock Performer intake, Holley 770 carburetor, and then just stock pistons. It does have 781 oval port heads. That is the heads that it has. So that was the better head back in the day that they had for these trucks, or for the 454s back in the day. They put a lot of those heads, if I remember right, were put on motors that were put into mobile homes, because they had a little bit better torque and stuff like that out of those heads. They could get a little bit more horsepower. But yeah, so what else? So this truck did come, it was ordered with 373 gears with the Dana 70. That is actually factory, and that is what this truck has. It actually allows this truck to actually get pretty decent fuel economy compared to some of the other gear ratios they put in these trucks. Because there's a lot of these, these dualies, they did not get very good. They would get, between 6 and 8 miles per gallon, pretty much no matter how you drove them, what you did, because of the gear ratios. And this one, it'll get you about 10 to 11 miles per gallon in town is about what you get. Each fuel tank, which both fuel tanks do work, and the fuel gauge does work. All the gauge, well, the speedometer does that at lower speeds, but when you get above 30, it actually will start registering. But the fuel gauges do work, and when you switch to the tank, it actually reads what tank it is, what you're on, so you should never run out of fuel. You do have a voltmeter here, that's factory, and then you have your oil pressure and coolant. I did put a 160 degree thermostat in this engine. The reason being is in the summertime, these big blocks are hard to keep cool. It does have that big aluminum radiator. However, these big blocks are very hard to keep cooled down and to keep from not necessarily overheating, but just keep them on the lower side of temperature wise. They are, but I noticed that with the aluminum radiator and the 160 temp, even on a really hot day, talking 100 degree plus, if we're driving down the road, we can pretty much sit about 180, 190 degrees on a really hot day. But once we come up to a light, it'll creep up a little bit. It'll creep up to about 200, 205. But once you get moving again, it does go right back down. So that is why I keep the 160 thermostat. There's a lot of people that will say, well, moisture and all that. I just don't think that's an issue, especially if you're changing your oil, at 3,000 miles like you should. I just don't find that to be an issue. I don't think you're gonna have problems with that. And then fuel economy wise, I think it actually does a little bit better running at the cooler temps. I think these 454s like the 160 thermostat. I really do. Yeah, technically a motor does run more efficient, closer to a boiling point. Closer to 200. Technically, scientifically, yes, a motor is going to run a little bit more efficient. But yeah, so that was a little bit of a drive, just kind of going around the park, going around town, and but yeah, I don't think I've made a video of actually driving it around. So I wanted to kind of do that for you guys and upload it to my channel. But yes, if you are interested and you are serious, hit me up. We might make a deal on it. If not, I'd be happy keeping the truck as it is. It's a pretty good rig. It is manual windows, which is nice. No automatic windows. I don't like the automatic windows. AC, like I said, does work. It also has a heater, which also works. And it also has, what else? A radio, a working digital radio. And then I have a Bluetooth adapter here, so you can play the music you want. But the radio itself does work, which this truck, I believe the antenna is actually built into the windshield. I'm pretty sure about that. I think this is actually the antenna, and then it goes in the windshield itself. which is pretty interesting, you know, with it being a 1977, that it had that, you know. I know there's some newer cars that don't even have that, but yeah, it's a pretty nice truck. This is a ceramic window tint. So, but like I said, hit me up if you're interested. Otherwise, just enjoy the videos.